You people don't eat here. A waitress ripped the dinner plate out of a little black girl's hands. The plate shattered across the restaurant floor. No, you people don't eat here. The little girl froze. Her tiny hands were still reaching for the food as glass scattered around her shoes. The entire restaurant went silent. Her father, Marcus Reed, shot up from his chair. Don't you ever touch my daughter. Before he could take another step, two security guards slammed him face first onto the polished marble floor. His wife screamed, "Marcus." Emma cried so hard she could barely breathe. "Daddy." One guard twisted Marcus's arm behind his back. Another pressed a knee into his back. Around them, more than 100 customers watched. Some laughed. Most pulled out their phones. Not a single employee tried to stop it. The restaurant manager adjusted his expensive suit and smiled. "I told you they didn't belong here." Marcus struggled to lift his head. "My daughter, she didn't do anything." The manager looked down at the broken food scattered across the floor. Neither did the trash. "But we still throw it out." Jasmine's face turned pale. She couldn't believe what she'd just heard. "You called my family trash?" The manager leaned closer. "I called it exactly what everyone in this restaurant is thinking." A few customers nodded. Others looked away in embarrassment. Emma slowly walked toward her father. Tears streamed down her face. She picked up a single piece of fried chicken from the broken plate. It was covered in shattered glass. "Quietly," she whispered. "I was saving this for Daddy." Marcus closed his eyes. That sentence hurt more than the handcuffs digging into his wrists. The security guard yanked him back to his feet. "Get them out. Now." Marcus looked around the restaurant. Not for help, not for sympathy. Just one person. One person willing to say this was wrong. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The humiliation was complete. Then, an elderly white woman sitting alone in the corner slowly stood up. She looked at Marcus. Then at the terrified little girl. Without saying a single word, she deliberately placed her fork onto her plate. Clink, the sound echoed through the silent restaurant. Every head turned toward her. 5 seconds later, another customer did the exact same thing. Clink, then another. Clink, then another. Within seconds, the sound of forks hitting plates echoed through the entire restaurant. No one was eating anymore. No one was talking anymore. Every customer was staring, not at Marcus, but at the restaurant manager. And for the first time that night, his confident smile disappeared. The manager looked around the restaurant. "What are you all staring at?" Nobody answered. Instead, another fork hit another plate, then another. Within seconds, every table had stopped eating. The only sound left inside the restaurant was Emma crying. Marcus remained pinned between the two security guards. His suit was covered with food and shattered glass. His wrists were turning red. The manager forced a laugh. "Congratulations, you've made everyone lose their appetite." He turned toward the customers. "If you'd like to continue your dinner, our staff will offer complimentary desserts." No one reached for a menu. No one smiled. Then the elderly white woman stepped away from her table. She walked straight toward Marcus. One guard immediately blocked her path. "Ma'am, please return to your seat." She didn't move. Instead, she looked directly at the manager. "I've been coming here for 23 years. I've never been more ashamed." The manager crossed his arms. "Ma'am, this is a private matter." "No," she replied quietly. "You made it everyone's business the moment you humiliated that child." The dining room fell even quieter. A young couple stood up. Then another family. Then a businessman closed his laptop and pushed back his chair. Within moments, half the restaurant was standing. The manager's smile disappeared. He whispered to one of the waiters, "Call the police." Marcus immediately spoke. "No, don't make this worse." Jasmine turned toward him in disbelief. "They attacked you. They humiliated Emma. And you're still protecting them?" Marcus lowered his voice. "I'm protecting her." He looked toward his daughter. Emma was trembling. She had buried her face against her mother's shoulder. Blue and red lights suddenly flashed through the restaurant windows. 3 police officers entered. The manager walked toward them with complete confidence. "Officer," that man became violent. "He assaulted my staff." Every phone inside the restaurant immediately pointed toward Marcus. Officer Daniel Hayes, a 46-year-old veteran police sergeant, looked first at Marcus, then at the crying little girl, then at the broken plate still lying beside her feet. Something didn't add up. He walked over slowly. "What happened here?" Before Marcus could answer, the manager interrupted. "My security footage caught everything. We can prove he attacked us." The manager smiled again. Victory was already written across his face. The officers exchanged quick glances. "If the footage shows that, we'll arrest him immediately." Emma suddenly screamed. Daddy didn't do anything. The entire restaurant turned toward her. She was shaking so badly she could barely stand. Then she pointed toward the ceiling. There, the cameras. They saw everything. For the first time, the manager looked up. His confident expression vanished. Because he had just remembered something, the restaurant's security cameras didn't only record the dining room. They also recorded the kitchen. And nobody besides him knew what had happened back there. The manager's face lost its color. For the first time that night, he wasn't looking at Marcus. He was looking at the security office door. Officer Daniel Hayes noticed. "You said the cameras recorded everything." The manager forced a smile. "They did." "Then let's watch the footage." A drop of sweat rolled down the manager's forehead. "Actually, our camera system has been acting up today." Before anyone could respond, a voice came from the back of the restaurant. "That's strange, because I fixed every camera this morning." Every head turned. A man in a gray maintenance uniform walked out of the hallway carrying a black toolbox. His name tag read, "Noah Bennett Systems Technician." The manager's eyes widened. "Noah, I thought you already left." Noah looked confused. "I did, but I forgot my toolbox." He slowly looked around the silent restaurant, then at Marcus, then at Emma. "What happened?" Officer Hayes stepped forward. "We're about to review the security footage." Noah frowned. "Good. Every camera is recording in 4K. You won't miss a thing." The manager swallowed hard. His hands began shaking. "No need. We've already handled the situation." Officer Hayes stared directly at him. "No, I think we're just getting started." Noah unlocked the security room. A large monitor lit up. Every camera feed inside the restaurant appeared on the screen. Dining room, entrance, hallway, kitchen, private office. 24 cameras, all recording. The manager quietly stepped backward. One of the security guards whispered, "Sir, you said those cameras were off." The officer heard him. "What did you just say?" The guard froze. I didn't mean." Officer Hayes looked from the guard to the manager, then back to the monitor. "Nobody touches anything." A waitress suddenly burst into tears. "I can't do this anymore." Everyone looked at her. She was barely 20 years old. Her hands were trembling. She pointed toward the manager. "He made us lie. He told us to say Marcus attacked first." The restaurant exploded into whispers. "What? Are you serious?" The manager shouted at Emily. "Be quiet." But it was too late. Emily was crying uncontrollably. I watched him grab that little girl's plate and throw it on the floor himself. Emma looked up. "So, it wasn't my fault?" Emily slowly shook her head. "No, sweetheart, it never was." Jasmine wrapped her arms around Emma. Marcus closed his eyes for a brief second. Officer Hayes turned toward the monitor. "Play the footage." Noah pressed the keyboard. The video began. The restaurant became so silent you could hear people breathing. The first few seconds showed Marcus and his family smiling, laughing, celebrating Emma's birthday. Then, the camera switched to the kitchen, and what it revealed made even the police officers stare at the screen in disbelief. The kitchen footage filled the giant monitor. For a moment, nothing seemed unusual. Chefs prepared meals, waiters carried trays, customers laughed in the dining room. The manager folded his arms again. "You see? I told you." Officer Daniel Hayes didn't respond. He kept watching. Then, the timestamp moved forward 30 seconds. A little girl walked into the kitchen entrance. It was Emma. She wasn't looking for trouble. She was carrying a folded birthday card. One of the waitresses smiled. "Sweetheart, you can't be back here." Emma held up the card. "I just wanted to give this to the chef. It's my daddy's favorite restaurant. I wanted to thank him." Several chefs smiled. One even waved at her. Before anyone could escort her out, the restaurant manager stormed into the kitchen. "What is she doing back here?" Emma looked frightened. I'm sorry. I just wanted to," without letting her finish. The manager snatched the birthday card from her hands. He glanced at it, then crumpled it into a ball. "You people never follow the rules." Emma's eyes filled with tears. The chef stopped working. One cook whispered, "Sir, she's just a little girl." The manager ignored him. Instead, he grabbed Emma's dinner plate from the serving counter. The meal her parents had ordered especially for her birthday. He looked directly at her, then deliberately dropped it onto the tile floor. The plate exploded into pieces. Emma flinched. The entire kitchen froze. One waitress covered her mouth. Another quietly wiped away tears. Officer Hayes paused the video. He slowly turned toward the manager. "You said Marcus became violent first." The manager couldn't answer. His lips trembled. Hayes pressed play again. The next camera showed Marcus rushing toward the kitchen after hearing Emma cry. He didn't swing at anyone. He didn't shout. He simply knelt beside his daughter. "Are you hurt?" Emma buried her face in his shoulder. "I'm sorry, Daddy. I broke my dinner." Marcus kissed the top of her head. "No, sweetheart, you didn't." Then, the footage showed the first security guard shoving Marcus without warning. Seconds later, the second guard slammed him onto the dining room floor. The officers watching the video exchanged stunned looks. Everything the manager had reported was a lie. The dining room erupted. Customers who had been silently watching finally spoke. "We saw it too. They're innocent. You framed them." One by one, people stood from every table. Not to leave, to surround Marcus and his family. The manager suddenly realized the crowd was no longer watching him. The crowd was judging him. He slowly backed toward his office. Officer Hayes noticed immediately. "Don't move." But the manager turned and ran. He made it only 3 steps before the restaurant's head chef stepped directly into his path. The chef didn't touch him. He simply folded his arms and said, "You're not walking away this time." The manager froze. Then, a quiet voice came from the back of the restaurant. It was Noah, the systems technician. He was still staring at another security monitor. His face had gone pale. Officer Hayes looked at him. "What is it?" Noah swallowed hard. "There's another camera. It wasn't pointing at the dining room. It was pointed at the manager's private office. And what it recorded changes everything." Every eye turned toward the second monitor. Noah's fingers hovered over the keyboard. The restaurant had become so quiet, the humming of the ceiling lights could be heard. Officer Daniel Hayes nodded. "Play it." The screen switched to the manager's private office. The timestamp showed 30 minutes before Marcus and his family had even arrived. The manager sat behind his desk with both security guards. His voice came clearly through the office microphone. "Table 12 is reserved for the investor meeting." One guard looked confused, but another family booked it weeks ago. The manager smiled. "I know. They'll be gone before the investors arrive." The second guard frowned. "What if they refuse to leave?" The manager leaned back in his chair. "Then give them a reason." The first guard laughed. "The Black family?" The manager nodded. "They'll be the easiest." The restaurant froze. Jasmine covered her mouth. Marcus slowly lowered his head. Emma didn't fully understand the conversation, but she understood one thing. They had never done anything wrong. Officer Hayes stopped the video. His expression hardened. "So this was planned." No one answered. The manager couldn't even look up. Just then, the elegant dining room doors opened. A black SUV pulled up outside the restaurant entrance. Several people in business suits stepped inside. The manager's face turned ghost white. No, not tonight. Leading the group was an older gentleman in a perfectly tailored navy suit. He calmly looked around the silent restaurant. Then he noticed Marcus. His eyes widened. Marcus? Marcus looked up in surprise. Mr. Whitmore? The entire restaurant stared. The elderly businessman walked directly past the manager, as if he didn't even exist. Then he warmly shook Marcus's hand. I've been trying to reach you all evening. Marcus looked confused. I turned my phone off for Emma's birthday. The man smiled. I can see why. He looked at Emma, then gently handed her a beautifully wrapped birthday gift. Happy birthday, young lady. Emma smiled for the first time all night. Officer Hayes looked at the businessman. Sir, may I ask who you are? The man reached into his jacket. He handed over a business card. Hayes read it silently. His eyebrows lifted. The restaurant staff leaned forward. The card read, Jonathan Whitmore, Chairman, Whitmore Hospitality Group. The officer looked back up. You own this restaurant? Jonathan nodded. I own every restaurant in this company. The manager's knees nearly gave out. Jonathan slowly turned toward him. I left early from our investor dinner because Marcus called yesterday. He told me your restaurant had become one of our highest-rated locations. I came tonight to thank the staff. He paused. Instead, I found this. He looked around the silent dining room, then at every customer still standing. I've spent 40 years building this company. Respect was supposed to be on every menu. But tonight, you served humiliation instead. Jonathan faced the manager. You're terminated. He turned to both security guards. You are too. Then he faced every employee. If anyone here stayed silent because they were afraid, you still have a place in this company. But if anyone participated, you'll leave with him. Several employees quietly lowered their heads. Others began crying. The head chef stepped forward. I'm sorry, Marcus, I should have spoken sooner. Marcus extended his hand. What matters is that you spoke now. The restaurant erupted into applause. Not polite applause, a standing ovation. Every customer rose to their feet. The same forks that had been placed down in protest remained untouched, because nobody had come to finish dinner anymore. They had stayed to witness dignity being restored. Jonathan looked at Emma. I believe this birthday deserves another dinner. He smiled. But this time, the entire restaurant is our guest. The customers immediately agreed. One after another, they applauded again. Emma looked around the room, then quietly asked Daddy, Are they clapping for us? Marcus smiled through tears. No, sweetheart, they're clapping, because kindness finally won. If you believe dignity should never depend on the color of someone's skin, comment respect below. Subscribe to Tale Fame for more unforgettable stories where courage, truth, and justice always have the final word.